What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Spicy Ben 808 here with another reaction video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a top 10 video of the fastest aircraft in the world. Let's jump right into it, shall we? This is going to be very interesting.
Number 10, Sukhoi Su-27. Top speed 1,550 miles per hour, or 2,500 kilometers per hour. Also referred to by the NATO as Flanker, the Sukhoi Su-27 is Russian fighter aircraft introduced in 1985 to the air forces of Soviet Union. Today, it is one of the primary military aircraft of Russian Air Force, and a lot of other countries including Belarus, China, India, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, and Vietnam.
Yeah, that jet's kind of common in Ace Combat video game.
At Sukhoi Design Bureau. It was meant as a direct response to the USAF F-15 fighter. Although the initial prototypes were largely considered inferior to its US counterpart, its designer kept on working on the aircraft and eventually managed to build arguably the finest air superiority fighter, not only in Russia but all over the world of the 20th century.
Built the F-22 and F-35.
Number 9, F-111 Aardvark. Top speed 1,650 miles per hour.
Don't remember which, I don't know if it was Tom Clancy's Hawks or one of the older Ace Combat, maybe Ace Combat 2 or 3, or what was it, the Balkan something? Oh, I don't remember which game that was. This was the jet that I used, that I like to use a lot for some reason. I don't know why, but I ended up gravitating towards this jet in the video game.
Or 2,655
the
kilometers per
Aardvark.
hour.
It sounded awesome.
In the early 1960s, both the Air Force and Navy were looking for a new aircraft. The former needed a supersonic fighter with the ability to fly at low altitude, avoid radar detection, and evade surface-to-air missiles. Meanwhile, the latter wanted well-equipped carrier interceptor to engage Soviet bombers before they could even launch anti-ship missiles. Despite the different needs, they only had one answer: the F-111B, which later developed into F-111 Aardvark. The Navy ended up never taking to the F-111, whereas the Air Force accepted more than 500 units deployed for various roles, including electronic warfare and strategic bombing. There have been many different developments over the years.
Yeah, it just kind of looks...
modern,
it
yet
looks
less
weird.
expensive avionics system was the last version produced for TAC. Number 8, McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle. Top speed 1,875 miles per hour, or 3,017 kilometers per hour. Developed in the darkest hours of tactical air command during the Vietnam War, the F-15 Eagle has matured enough to transform into one of the world's best air superiority fighters. It has a history of victories against multiple adversaries, including the Foxbat MiG-25s. At higher altitude, the F-15 Eagle has a maximum speed of Mach 2.5. At sea level, it is capable of flying at Mach 1.2. In fact, the aircraft is so powerful that it could break the speed of sound flying straight up.
Wow.
The aircraft was first introduced in 1976. Today, it is still in service with primary users including the USAF itself, Japan Air Self-Defense Force, Royal Saudi Air Force, and Israeli Air Force. The F-15 remains one of the most successful modern fighters, with no losses in air combat and over 100
I think
victories.
it's the most... Yeah, it is. The F-15 is the benchmark.
Number 7, Mikoyan MiG-31. Top speed 1,900 miles per hour, or 3,057 kilometers per hour. An old adage from Russia goes, something new is something old that everyone has forgotten, which makes an appropriate expression for MiG-31 fighter. First produced in 1975, the aircraft initially developed to chase the SR-71 Blackbird above the Soviet Arctic.
Huh.
It was a highly valuable asset for the Soviet Union in the 1980s, as hot pursuit in the air was nothing unusual. Now that the Blackbird has been retired, you may think that MiG-31 also is considered an obsolete aircraft, but you'd be wrong. Apparently, the technology still keeps up to modern day's warfare, so it has been officially repurposed as a delivery vehicle for hypersonic missiles, known as Kinzhal or Dagger. The combination of lethal firepower and speed in MiG-31 earned the Foxhound respect from NATO back then. Number 6. XB-70 Valkyrie. Top speed 2,056 miles per hour, or 3,310 kilometers per hour.
That just looks so weird.
Just last October, National Museum of the U.S. Air Force had a massive work to do on one of its storage hangars, which required moving a supersonic bomber.
It kind of looks like a
XB-70
paper plane.
Valkyrie. Extreme precautions must be taken because it is the only remaining unit in the world. Back in its heyday in early 1960s, the XB-70 was intended to be the strategic bomber that could fly swiftly into the Soviet territory at high altitude in the event of a nuclear war. The planned cruise speed for the aircraft was Mach 3 at an altitude of 70,000 feet. According to NASA, the XB-70's uniquely shaped wingtips allowed the aircraft to ride its own shockwave.
Wow, that's so
cool. Before the project
cool.
was complete, however, the Kennedy administration shut down the plan to deploy the aircraft. The program was canceled. 2 experimental prototypes were still under construction. Those 2 did manage to see the light of day, although one of them was finally lost following a mid-air collision in June 1966.
Damn.
The remaining Valkyrie became a research plane and retired on February 4th, 1969.
That's crazy.
Number 5. Bell X-2 Starbuster. Top speed 2,094 miles per hour, or 3,370 kilometers per hour. The rocket-powered Bell X-2 Starbuster was a research aircraft designed to gather data on how aerodynamic heating affected aircraft structure, as well as the impacts of flying at high speed and altitude on the effectiveness
It literally
of control
looks
and
like
stability.
a metal cylinder with wings.
The USAF, the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, and the Bell Aircraft Corporation worked together to develop the aircraft in 1945. On September 7, 1956, the Bell X-2 became the first aircraft to reach an altitude of more than 100,000 feet when it flew 126,200 feet high. 20 days later, on September 27th, it was also the first aircraft to fly 3 times faster than the speed of sound, clocking in at 3.2 Mach, although this last flight destroyed the aircraft and killed Air Force pilot Captain Milburn G. Apt. The aircraft was officially retired on the same day. This record has stood for more than a decade until the X-15 came along.
Jeez.
Number 4. Mikoyan MiG-25. Top speed 2,171 miles per hour, or 3,500 kilometers per hour. Part of the Russian S-155P missile interceptor system, the MiG-25 is a supersonic reconnaissance aircraft developed for the main purpose of countering air targets in any weather conditions, night and day. The aircraft is a result of joint effort between Moscow-based RSK MiG and the Sukhoi Aircraft Manufacturing Plant. Capable of achieving Mach 2.83, the MiG-25 remains one of the fastest combat aircraft ever produced. Outside of the Russian military, the full capabilities of the aircraft was largely unknown until 1976, when Soviet pilot Viktor Belenko defected to the United States via Japan in a MiG-25.
Wow.
The aircraft was theoretically capable of a maximum speed of Mach 0.36, but at Mach...
Hold up. Can you guys imagine? Imagine you're a pilot of your country's brand new warplane, and not much is known about it to your country's enemies. So you end up defecting, bringing that new piece of technology with you, and the United States military and the government just completely, I don't know if they tore it down or whatever, kind of gave it a good look and say, okay, we'll take our top of the line jet and this MiG and we're gonna combine the best of both aircraft, and then we're gonna build upon it. Wow, that
Point
is
3.2, the aircraft's engine would overheat.
that is
and
nuts.
The air-to-air missiles beneath the wings vibrated to a dangerous degree. Even if it cannot safely reach Mach 3.2, MiG-25 is still a respectably sophisticated aircraft.
That's crazy.
Number 3, Lockheed YF-12. Top speed 2,275 miles per hour, or 3,661 kilometers per hour. The public saw Lockheed YF-12 for the first time at Edwards Air Force Base on September 30th, 1964. The well-publicized announcement was partly intended to continue hiding the Lockheed A-12, which at that time was still a secret. About 6 months after the first public showing, YF-12 took a flight test that would set speed record of Mach 3.2 and altitude record of 80,257 feet, at least until Blackbird surpassed it. Over the course of its program, YF-12s flew almost every
It's still a
week unless
cool
grounded for
looking
maintenance.
aircraft.
As it
Don't get
turned
me
out,
wrong.
it was prone to airflow problem that caused thrust imbalance, resulting in uncontrollable yawing. Of all 3 planes built, there is only one remaining today, displayed at the U.S. Air Force Museum.
Jeez.
Number 2,
There we go.
SR-71
SR-71.
Top speed 2,250 plus miles per hour, or 3,600.
This is one of my favorite aircrafts
per
of
hour.
all time right here.
Flying at a sustained speed of Mach 3.3 at an altitude of 85,000 feet, the SR-71 set the record for the fastest air-breathed manned aircraft on July 28, 1976. It was so fast that if anybody launched a surface-to-air missile in an attempt to take it down, the standard evasive action was simply to accelerate faster in order to outfly the weapon. The development of SR-71 was surrounded by secrecy during the late 1950s. After all, it was a spy plane designed to penetrate enemy territory without detection. Fast forward to 70 years later, the Blackbird still looks like something from the future even by today's standards. NASA performed the last flight of SR-71 in 1999 for aeronautical research. Since then, all the surviving Blackbirds have taken museums as their retirement homes.
All right, for warplane aficionados out there, or just fans of aircrafts in general, do you guys believe that the United States government or the United States military is working on a brand new version of the Blackbird? Comment down below, let me know. I think so. And I think it's probably gonna look a little bit like a space shuttle, to be honest. All right, let's go. Let's check out
Number
this.
1, North American X-15. Top speed 4,520 miles per hour, or 7,275 kilometers per hour. It has been more than 5 decades since the North American X-15 earned its title as the fastest aircraft ever flown.
Look at that.
When Major William Knight took the rocket-powered machine for a cruise at Mach 6.72, flying at 102,000 feet above sea level on October 3, 1967. In other words, it reached the edge of outer space at hypersonic speed.
That's crazy,
It had to
man.
be carried beneath the wing of a NASA B-52 plane to an altitude of 45,000 feet prior to any flight to make sure that the X-15 could utilize all its fuels. In total, the aircraft made 199 flights and provided invaluable information for the development of spaceflight. Each flight lasted for just about 10 minutes. It took the last flight on 24 October 1968.
So if it was like all of these so-called, like super jets not even getting used in the early 2000s, it really makes you wonder if there is current testing going on right now with advanced hypersonic aircraft. Like, it's pretty much, for me, in my eyes, it's a race of who can create the first aircraft that can leave the Earth's atmosphere and go into space and then come back in. And a lot of that probably might have to do with how durable the plane can be when exiting and re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, as well as how powerful the thrust is on the engine. Because eventually, you know, if if the human race don't destroy themselves by then, you know, it's pretty much gonna come down to which country is gonna create the first aircraft that the engine isn't rocket based. You know what I mean? Very, very interesting stuff. Anyway, comment down below. Tell me, for, again, aircraft aficionados, do you guys think that the United States has another SR-71 or some type of brand new secret plane that maybe that there's rumored? I don't pay attention to much stuff like this, but it's blowing my mind and I want to know more. You know, hit me up in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on social media. Join my Discord. All the links are in the description. Rock on to the next, guys. Appreciate it.